Mr. Zuckerberg, I know you don't mean it to be so, but you have blood on your hands. You have a product that's killing people.
I disagree with that characterization.
Does your user agreement still suck? You track people who aren't even Facebook users.
Your product is killing people. Will you personally commit to compensating the victims? You're a billionaire.
I'm not going to answer that.
You've got families whose children are either severely harmed or gone, and you don't think it's appropriate to talk about steps that you took?
So the bottom line is you can't be sued. You should be.
It has been a bad day for Molly Russell so far. To find a moment of joy and an escape from her daily life, she gave herself up to the Instagram algorithm, like many of us often do. And this was the biggest mistake of 14-year-old Molly. As the clock kept ticking, her Instagram feed was showered with harmful content related to depression and even self-harm, which eventually led Molly to take her life. And this tragic death of Molly Russell, a 14-year-old British influencer, shook the entire world. There are 1,000 parents out there like Molly's parents who lost their child. And it is not that only children get trapped under its illusion. Adults also fall into the trap of this exaggerated world and often do wrong to themselves. But till date, no one could be held responsible for such accident except that poor guy. But finally justice has spoken. On 14th February 2024, a lawsuit has been filed against this tech giant and their companies. The lawsuit claims that these sites are designed to maximize screen time, which can encourage addictive behavior in young people especially. It also claims that the defendants have created a youth mental health crisis through the defective design of their platform, and Instagram has ranked top of that accused list.
You're not companies, you're countries. You're very, very powerful.
But wait a minute, how did a mere application like Instagram that came after Facebook and WhatsApp gain so much popularity and disrupt the market? What are the things that they did differently from other apps in the market? Was this a normal growth journey like others or a mysterious one? Let's dive deep into the story and investigate how they function, most importantly, why they do what they do. To know this, you have to know a little bit about history of Instagram. On October 6th, 2010, Instagram was launched. The co-founder Kevin was very happy and overwhelmed with the initial response it got from the public. But in Kevin's wildest fantasies, he could not have predicted what was about to happen next. It was 2012, the app was launched just 18 months ago. Instagram was becoming more and more popular among users and becoming the headache of the big elephant in the house, Facebook. One day Zuckerberg called Kevin on phone and got straight to the point, saying, "I have thought about it and I want to buy your company." And Zuckerberg offered something that he could not refuse. It was a hefty $1 billion that came alongside a threat. Kevin knew if he did not sell his company to Facebook, Facebook would definitely try to crush Instagram like Zuckerberg already did with other competitors in the past. So instead of competing them, he preferred to being on the same team backed by Facebook huge wealth. It seemed like a win-win situation for Kevin. And back then, nobody had ever paid $1 billion for a mobile app. While others thought it to be a mistake, but deep down inside, Zuckerberg knew what he was doing. By 2019, Instagram was generating over $24 billion in revenue per year, which contributed around 30% of Facebook's total revenue. Plus, it also meant that the top alternative to Facebook was now owned by Facebook itself, which proved out to be a genius move of Zuckerberg, but not everyone was happy about the deal. Many users did not want Facebook having yet more users' data given their poor past track record with privacy. Chapter 2. Instagram says it now has the right to sell your photos without payment or notification, and there is no way to opt out. Articles like this started to popping up after the acquisition of Instagram by Facebook. Due to some changes in their user agreements, everybody sensed that something very big is cooking inside. At that time, governments around the world investigated whether this deal gave Facebook a monopoly on social media or not. Even governments fell under the spell of that man. Now, years later, analysts are saying that allowing that acquisition of Instagram by Facebook was one of the greatest regulatory failures of the decade, giving Facebook a complete monopoly over the social media industry. Chapter 3. It was the time when, with increasing popularity of Instagram, was facing much bigger issues like online harassment and virtual bullying. Because Instagram did not require people to use their real name and real address, it was much easier to create anonymous account, and thus there was a growing amount of hateful content, even illegal content being posted, including a variety of scams, and in some really extreme cases, terrorists were recruiting via Instagram and covertly organizing their content with specific hashtags. It became official in 2021 when the Wall Street Journal confirmed that Facebook had known for years that Instagram is harmful to many of its users, but they concealed that data from lawmakers. Suddenly, a leaked internal document surfaced from inside Facebook, and Instagram's research team stated that the company conducted their own research and found
that you make life worse for 1 in 3 teenage girls. You increase
Senator, that's not
anxiety
what it
and
says.
depression. That's what it says. And you're here testifying to us in public that there's no link. You've been doing this for years. While internally, you know full well your product is a disaster.
Senator,
and yet
that's
you
not
keep
true.
right on doing what you're doing.
Another internal study found that 13% of British teenagers with suicidal thoughts could trace those thoughts back to Instagram usage. And Molly Russell was one of them among millions. These are the data that was all from company's own research team. Multiple other whistleblowers have since accused Instagram of putting astronomical profits before its users always. Even Chris Hughes, one of the co-founder of Facebook and Zuckerberg very close friend, called for the deal to be undone and saying Mark's power is unprecedented and was not aligned with his own country, America itself. Chapter 4. Gradually, as time went by, Facebook started getting slightly more involved in Instagram, breaking their pact of non-involvement, leading to several arguments between Zuckerberg and the co-founder Kevin, which became worse when Zuckerberg wanted to integrate Facebook's existing ad system on Instagram, and which works like this. Pretty much anyone in the world could buy advertising in Instagram newsfeed and target users based on their demographics, interests, and everything else Instagram knew about them. Basically, it was the offer to sell users' personal data to advertisers to monetize the platform, like Facebook has been doing for years. Though Kevin for a little while got his way and he would manually approve Instagram ads himself for a small number of big trusted brands, but eventually Zuckerberg put his foot down on Instagram and integrated Facebook's existing ad system, opening the floodgates for anyone to buy ads on Instagram against Kevin's will. Chapter 5. With Zuckerberg finally executing his master plan with Instagram, it was a reminder for Kevin that he might still have the title of Instagram CEO, but he certainly wasn't the boss. The conflict eventually led to Kevin's resignation from Instagram. So was the other co-founder Mike. Now the company was running under Zuckerberg without 2 of its co-founders. These are all the things Zuckerberg had been pushing for a long time. But with Kevin now gone, he was free to do as he pleased with no pushback and no delays. The dark business model and toxic advertisement culture has been growing since.
You have convinced over 2 billion people to give up all of their personal information in exchange for getting to see what their high school friends had for dinner Saturday night. That's pretty much your business model, isn't it?
To understand this model properly and to navigate the way out, first of all, you have to understand what is the mental trick that they are playing with you. Chapter 6. So let me ask you a question. What do these social media platforms want from us? They want us to spend as much time as possible on their platform. And in return, that application provides little value to us. But this rule doesn't apply to Instagram at all, because Instagram is always 2 steps ahead of other applications. Insta also understand that if they provide value, you might get habituated on using their platform. But if they can develop an addiction, it will definitely get you trapped, providing them with tons and tons of your personal data, making them stronger day by day. And Reels played a pivotal role in this. Once you get trapped in the endless scrolling, now Instagram is closely monitoring your each and every movement in the virtual world. And if you are among one of those who are there only for watching yummy food items, luxurious lifestyles, sexually explicit content, you have been completely slaved by Instagram's instant gratification mechanism that taps into a certain dopamine receptors, and you have totally lost your control to the hands of this gentleman. A research highlighting social media addiction shows that it activates similar dopamine responses and neurological pathways as drug usage does. Chapter 7. The constant stimulation exploits how our brain are wired to pay attention to intriguing informations. Without us even realizing it, minutes turn into hours and hours turn into days. As Instagram shows us whatever will keep us hooked. As a result of it, Instagram has created an immensely profitable platform, but one achieved through tapping into human vulnerabilities rather than our best interest. In order to maximize engagement, often prioritizing content deemed popular, controversial, or emotionally charged. Simultaneously, human psychology makes us vulnerable to confirmation bias. And it is also true that we gravitate toward information reinforcing our existing beliefs and perspective. As a result of that, you end up trapped in feedback loops catering to biases rather than factual accuracy or balance. That is when it becomes the killing platform of the truth, which divide communities on the basis of us versus them mentality. Chapter 8. Some of the world's best minds sitting in Silicon Valley are deciding what you are gonna see next, which will potentially shape your opinion, and you don't even realize that. So understanding these realities is important for empowering people to moderate usage and take control of their online experience, because we cannot let them simply hand over our remote control to them. That is why we make these videos to empower others. In return, I have a small request. Before moving to the solution part, if you take a second to press this subscribe button and gives it a thumbs up, YouTube will promote this video to others who might not be aware about these crucial facts. This is free for you, but it will give us a massive boost on YouTube. Chapter 9. See, social media offers a bunch of benefits, but it is also important to be aware of its potential threats. Here are some key ones, along with strategies to navigate them safely. Oversharing personal information can make you vulnerable to identity theft, stalking, or discrimination. So, while posting your content, remember, limit what you share publicly, adjust privacy settings, and be cautious about sharing personal details with unverified accounts. Online abuse can damage mental health and well-being, so don't engage with trolls, block negativity, report harassment, and don't be ashamed of seeking support if needed. Excessive social media use can impact productivity, relationships, and mental health. So to protect yourself, set your time limits, utilize app timers if needed, practice mindfulness, and most importantly, prioritize real-time interactions over virtual meetings or friendship. Often go out to chill with friends rather than scrolling over the idiot box meaninglessly. Exposure to false information can negatively impact your decision making and understanding of the world. So to protect yourself, each time you see an unknown fact or incident, verify information with multiple sources, develop a critical thinking skills by yourself, and rely on reputable news outlets only. These platforms can exaggerate body image issues, anxiety, and depression through unrealistic portrayal of social comparison. Be mindful of the content you consume, focus on self-acceptance, limit comparisons, and remember, all the things you see on social media is not real. Even Molly Russell had a perfect life on Instagram. Before signing off, one last advice. If you enjoyed this content, make sure to check out our this video where we have discussed how a billionaire from India is apparently controlling 1.4 billion population of this country. You will definitely enjoy it, trust me.